Duality. What is positive and what is negative? I hear a lot of people and they say things like, how come you aren't more positive? Or why are you being so negative? Don't be so negative. You're neither negative nor positive. If you spend all your time trying to be positive, what you're actually doing is creating the fear that you might be negative. Because you're insinuating that negative is bad, positive is good. There's been many negative events in history that have influenced our times right now. World War II, for example. Because of World War II, we haven't had a major war on mass scale between two industrialized nations since then. People are afraid of war. They came to know that war was bad through that negativity. So negativity had a purpose. Otherwise there wouldn't be anything called negative. It would just be positive everywhere, yeah. But then we would never evolve. And free will would not be there either. So in a balanced and enlightened perspective, I am neither negative nor positive, but neutral, in between. And I use them, and I observe them, and I play with them, but I'm not defined by my choices. So if you're spending all your time trying to be positive, consider that you're making yourself afraid by saying that negativity is bad, by saying that I cannot have anything to do with negativity. You're creating that fear in yourself that you might be potentially capable of doing that. Another mind game. In reality, there's only neutrality. There's only that one neutral sun aspect. In the Trinity are the Father and the Mother and the Son. The positive, the negative, and the neutral. The passive, the active, and the neutrality. So when you think in duality, that's where anxiety comes from. You say, oh, I have to be like this, I have to be like this. And you're creating the fear that you might not be like this because you're setting yourself up with an illusory idea of what is real in your mind. Enslaving yourself for no reason. If you're constantly worrying and judging and trying to make everybody live up to your ideals, all you'll end up doing is making your own self anxious and feeling judged. You only end up feeling judged by your own self. You won't get anywhere. If you go around trying to make other people be positive, what you're really doing is reinforcing your ego and saying that I am positive, I am positive. That I am is not the real I am, which can't be put into a box like positivity. Because it created both of those. It created positivity and negativity for its own experience. Just like you do. Create it for your own experience. So don't let the web of positivity blind you. I'm not saying to go around being an asshole to people. Your karma is your karma. If you treat others the way that you would prefer to be treated, then you don't have to worry about being negative or positive. You're just being yourself. And you don't worry about fear of being negative or hopes of being positive. There's a quote in the Tao Te Ching, and it says something that praise is to be more feared than punishment or something like this, and because it's such that as soon as you receive praise, there's a fear of losing it. You know, there's a fear of not receiving any further praise, or of not being able to keep that praise, or of falling into a state of not praise. Because every time you create dualistically, good, bad, you always create the opposite. That's why people, when they begin meditation, they have a hard time calming their mind and experiencing energy, because their mind is thinking, okay, this is good, and then automatically it creates, this is bad, and then it stops. Enlightenment has nothing to do with morality. You know, for some reason a lot of people seem to think that it's about some kind of like morality. But that's not true. You're not going to attain the state of consciousness of the Buddha, or of Christ, or Krishna, or of Lao Tzu, or Kuan Yin, or any of these masters. You're not going to attain their state by being positive. You're going to attain the state by being as you are. By meditating, by removing all attachments to negative and positive polarity thinking. The whole function of the last 26,000 or 13,000, however many years it is, was for us to eat from that knowledge of good and evil, of polarity thinking, and then realize that there's only one. The tree of life. You know, one of the most important things that I've heard in the last week or two is something that Lincoln said a few days ago. He said that all paths from the mind, all paths from thought and from ideas, like positive and negative, only lead back into the mind. They don't lead you beyond the mind into the superconscious, which is what this is all about seeing that you and God are one and the same. And then attaining that superconscious state where you're still in the flesh, still on the earth, living half like a god and half like a human. And you will feel like that. You'll be very sure. And you will laugh at ideas like positivity and negativity. You know, that's to teach preschoolers how to keep from fighting each other or whatever, you know? That's not for going beyond the mind, reaching enlightenment. The state where the individual and the all-encompassing omnipresent, the Jiva and the Shiva, merge into oneness. And you have a continuous experience of that merger. A continuous experience. Your mind does not fall back to, oh, maybe I'm this person doing this thing or that thing. You have a continuous experience of that unity. And you know in each moment, because you perceive it wholly with your entire being,